Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening. Thank you for standing by and welcome to the webinar for Secure, Smart and Intelligent Network. This is Rodi, your host for today's webinar. It gives me immense pleasure welcoming you all to the live webinar on the theme of Secure, Smart and Intelligent Network. This webinar is hosted by PCQuest in association with Aruba, #1 enterprise class wireless LAN vendor in India CY 2019, source IDC, along with association with one of the leading channel partner, Ashtech. For the duration of presentation, all participants' line will be in listen-only mode. After the presentation, we will have a question and answer session. Your feedback is very important for us. Please submit your feedback at the end of the webinar. Exciting gift vouchers will be given to the attendee who will fill up the feedback form. Now, I would like to hand over the floor to Mr. Sunil Rajguru, editor, PCQuest. Mr. Rajguru is also one of the speakers from the speakers list. Mr. Rajguru, welcome to the program. We are now ready to begin.
I would like to welcome all delegates on behalf of PCQuest, Aruba, and Ashtech. So the topic of today's webinar is Secure, Smart, and Intelligent Network. So first of all, I'm Sunil Rajguru. I'm the executive editor of PCQuest magazine, which is India's oldest EC magazine, though we are a technology magazine. Today we are here to discuss the big concept, Secure, Smart, and Intelligent Networks, which are the need of ours for all organizations. Now, what kind of times we are living in? Things are changing pretty rapidly. We have the lockdown, we have work from home is increasing, we have collaboration tools, and we are having a webinar like this. The entire way we have worked is changing. But while we change the work, one thing has to be continuous. One thing has to be consistent, and that is the business continuity planning, BCP. We have to focus on that. And when we talk of BCP, one of the central tenets of that is the network. Whatever happens, we have to secure the network. That probably is the most important thing to go forward. And it doesn't matter how you use it, which your network is, where it is. The only thing that matters is that you have to secure it. And if you note that in the last few years, the way the world is networking is changing rapidly. Gone are the days when there used to be a mainframe and an office desktop. Then you had a home desktop. Then you had the laptop, mobile. Now, the entire complexity of the network is very large and huge. So, for example, we have data centers. Do you know how many data centers are there? There are millions and millions of data centers. People have lost count. In fact, one of the biggest data centers, if you look at the hyperscale data centers, we have more than 500. Now, also add to that the Internet of Things devices. Did you know that IoT devices, there are more IoT devices than is the population of the world. So there is more than one IoT device for the population. And this number may increase 10-fold, 100-fold as the years go by. So, and this IoT device is also part of the network. The mobile workforce, they are also part of the network. The network is becoming huge, complex, and it is spreading. And another thing is, one of the ways we are handling it is through artificial intelligence and machine learning. These are some of the ways in which the network is being managed. So it is very important that you have the right network solutions and you secure your network. I'll just end with how dangerous times we are living in. Right now, all the focus is on COVID-19. We are just thinking of the disease, of the lockdown and all. But the cyber criminals, they are happy with this and they are ready to exploit. You must remember that all cyber criminals, they are ready to exploit whichever current event happens. So in the last few months, the phishing, malware, spam, ransomware has increased to the tune of millions per day. In fact, the World Health Organization is trying to bring the pandemic down, but the cyber criminals are attacking the WHO. WHO has reported a 5-fold increase in attacks in the last week alone. And that is the case everywhere. Cyber criminals are pretending to be WHO and they're trying to sell their corona solutions and try to infiltrate every organization in the world, large or small. So as you can see, the network is vast and complex and it is very important, and cyber criminals don't take a vacation. During a lockdown, they are even more active. So this is just a brief overview of the network and security situation. So now I will hand over the floor to Mohan Negi, who is a systems engineer at Aruba, and he will drive today's agenda of the webinar from the Aruba's perspective. Over to you, Mr. Mohan.
Hi all. Very good afternoon to everyone. Hope my screen is visible. My screen visible to everyone?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, so quick introduction. So my name is Mohan Negi, and I am part of Aruba's pre-sales team or the systems engineer team based out of Mumbai. Okay, and the agenda for today is that we will walk you through what are the security challenges we see and we foresee considering today's mobile network. Okay, and how can we address it and how can we overcome those challenges, right? So this is the brief agenda. So we'll see what are the threats, common threats which we see, what are the security challenges. Then we'll look at our NAC solution, using NAC solution, how we can overcome that. That is called as ClearPass Policy Manager. And then we will look at something called as Aruba ClearPass Device Insight. Okay. So there have been more and more number of IoT related vulnerabilities, what we are seeing today. Okay. Because the business demands more number of devices to be connected onto the network. There has been increasing demand of infrastructure, right? So more and more number of users are connecting. On top of that, there are more and more number of IoT devices which are connecting onto the network, right? So IoT devices can be anything, headless devices which connect onto a switches or your Wi-Fi, right? It can be printers, it can be microwave ovens, it can be fridge, what we are seeing nowadays. In medical equipment, it can be biomedical equipment, right? All these IoT devices are connecting onto the network, right? And there are a lot of security risk and vulnerabilities which are associated to all these IoT devices. Okay, so this is one of the snapshot which we have taken from Rapid7 and Qualys, and all the independent research they do confirm this. Okay, that there are a lot of vulnerabilities, and despite of the vulnerabilities, the adoption of these IoT devices will grow in all the enterprises in the near future, and it has already expanded, right? So, and the idea of AAA, which we are going to talk about, right? So it has been there for more than a decade, okay? More than 10, 15 years, it has already been there, okay? But the today's need for mobility, DIVA-OD, and the IoT devices which are connecting onto the network, legacy AAA doesn't fit into that same scenario, okay? And it doesn't meet the requirement what is required to meet all these challenges, right? So there is a need for next generation NAC for all these enterprises to address all these security vulnerabilities, okay? So I think you can please. So one of the interesting attacks what we have seen, this was back in 2017, so I thought maybe I'll share it with you guys as well. One of the IoT attacks, very interesting way, where in one of the casinos, there was a fish tank which was connecting onto the network, okay? And the attackers and the hackers were able to get onto the network, casino's network, through this fish tank. Okay, so fish tank again was acting as an IoT device, and these hackers were able to get inside the network through this IoT sensors, and they pulled out around 10 GB of the casino's database. Okay, and it was sent out to somewhere in Finland. Okay, so this is one of the IoT attacks which I wanted to share. Another one which I also read recently last week around one of the winery auction website was brought down through DDoS attack. Okay, so and most common ways of targeting any website is through compromised IoT devices, compromised security cameras or other type of IoT devices, right? So a lot of attacks which we see over there. Okay, so now how can you reduce that risk? Okay, so to reduce that risk, we offer something called as ClearPass Policy Manager. Okay, along with something called as ClearPass Device Insight, which will give you the visibility. That is what we will talk about for the next 30-35 minutes. Okay, so you can reduce the risk when you have control. Okay, and control that comes without impeding the business demand. Okay, so everything starts with visibility. So you know what is connecting onto the network, what is connected onto a network, and what is right now to a network. Okay, so visibility is the most important part. So after visibility, then you can take appropriate control measures to all your devices. Okay, So to getting onto a point where every device which is there onto a network, every user who is connecting onto the network, every device which is connecting onto the network, okay, is authenticated as well as authorized, okay, and there is no unknown devices in your business. So if you are able to reach this point, there will be a very low risk associated to your corporate or to your enterprise, okay. Once you have everything, all the devices which is connecting, irrespective of the medium, whether wired or wireless, properly authenticated and authorized, okay. So automation is the keyword, which will keep the business secure and it will keep driving it. So this is one of the snapshots which I pulled out from that NAC solution. So on the dashboard, you can see, right, total authenticated users which are there onto the network. You can see what are the device families which are there onto your network, okay. Top bandwidth users, consumption-wise onto a network. Okay. So once you have this visibility that this is what is happening inside the network, we can apply appropriate policies onto your network, okay. And this can either be a corporate device, or it can be a BYOD device, or it can be an IoT device. So everything which is connecting onto the network is being fingerprinted, is being authenticated, and is being authorized, okay, so that everything is secured and business functions in a best optimized manner. So what we do is in the visibility terms, okay, so in today's network, you will have contractors who are connecting onto a network. We have an access control system. It is called as Active Directory. So it is always called as Active Directory, which is the foundation where all the users reside. Active Directory know who can access what files, right? So ClearPass easily extends over that, okay? So ClearPass extends to and connects to the Active Directory. It defines who can access what devices, what infrastructure, what applications, and every user who is connecting onto the network, they will have an appropriate role, right? So the ClearPass will come to know that, okay, this is the corporate-owned devices. These are the BYOD kind of devices which you are connected. These are the IoT devices which are connected, okay? And not just that, ClearPass can also take into considering the location of that user, okay? So we can define access in such a way that if a user is connecting from office, he will get X kind of access, but at the same time, the user is connecting from his home, right? He will have Y kind of access, okay? At the same time, floor 1 user will have X kind of access, floor 2 user will have Y kind of access, right? We can go one step ahead where we can also define access on basis of time of the day. Okay, so for example, if some user is coming on a weekend, he will have some different kind of access, right? If a user is coming after 7 p.m. in the night, he will have different kind of access. So there are a lot of permutations and combinations which we can do, and basis that we can give appropriate access level to the user. Okay, and the same can be extended to IoT devices as well. Okay, so as soon as an IoT device, let's say a CCTV camera connecting onto the network, the network will identify itself as a CCTV camera, and he will get his level of secure access automatically, irrespective of that user connecting from wired network or
the person you are speaking with has put your call on hold. Please stay on the line.
Okay, so once you have control, so we give you the ability to define who and what devices can connect to your infrastructure, what it can access from your infrastructure, okay, and whether they are the IoT device, BYOD device, or the corporate device. Right? So the who, what is very important when any user connects onto the network, okay. And it improves the overall security, okay, by having all the devices being authenticated and authorized automatically, okay, and there are no unknown devices into your network, which greatly reduce the overall risk onto your network, okay. So this is a very important slide which gives an overall picture, right? So I'll just quickly pointer, right? So using this, what we intend to say is, using ClearPass, we can do something which is called as dynamic segmentation. Okay, so I'll talk about dynamic segmentation. So in this particular slide, it consolidates whatever we have been talking about. So let's suppose if there is a user who is connecting onto the network, irrespective of that being a wired switch or a Wi-Fi, first thing is he will be authenticated using ClearPass Manager, and then he will be authorized. Okay. So now to make it a little interactive and to know that you are listening, can you just answer this poll? So the question is on the poll is how important it is to secure network in your organization. Okay. So when we say secure network, it means all the users as well as the IoT devices. So this poll has been ended, is it? Okay, the poll is off. The host? The host?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
The host? Okay. Okay. So with this slide, again to repeat, I was saying is this slide consolidates that any user who is connecting onto the network, irrespective of him connecting on wired or wireless, first thing is he'll be authenticated. Second thing, he will be authorized. Okay. So ClearPass knows that this user is from IT department, or this user is from marketing department, right? And according to that, he will be given X VLAN or Y VLAN. Okay. Now to build on one step further, we can also give you context basis on the device which that user is coming in. Okay. So this is where the BYOD portion comes into picture, because it may happen that you want to allow your employees to bring in their own personal devices. Okay. But when employees are bringing their own personal devices, we are not sure, right, how secure they are. Okay, it may be a jailbroken device, or they will have an XYZ application, right? So even when they are bringing their personal device, we want to give them access, but limited access. It cannot go to my internal network. It cannot go to my SAP network, XYZ. It should only go to my internet, right? So with ClearPass, we can have that context as well. So we can give you a context where an employee connecting from his iPad will get XYZ access, but at the same time, if the employee is bringing in his domain laptop, will get different kind of access where everything is accessible. But at the same time, he's bringing iPad, he is having access only to internet, right? Same thing can be extended to your guest users. Okay. ClearPass also hosts advanced guest management, where when a guest coming in, it can host a captive portal page where he can fill those credentials, and then on the basis of OTP or someone approving it, we can give him access on that. The most important part is with IoT devices. Okay. Similarly, when an IoT device connecting onto the network, first thing is it will be authenticated, and then it will be profiled. Okay. And we have gone one step further. Okay. So with dynamic segmentation, what we are offering is that once an IoT device, okay, or once a user which connects onto the network, his traffic will directly be tunneled to something called as a controller. Okay. And on the controller, we can apply very granular policies. Okay. So we all understand that switches are normally an L3 device or L4 device, right, where we can apply policies till IP layer or TCP layer, right? But with Aruba's dynamic segmentation, this IoT device, I can apply much more granular policy, right, till layer 7. Okay. So this IoT device, because see, the whole idea and the premise is that IoT devices are not secure, right? So to make it much more secure for your organization to easily adopt devices connecting onto the network, there is something called the Aruba's dynamic segmentation. Okay, where any IoT device connected onto the network, his traffic is tunneled to a device which is called as a controller, and on that controller is where we can apply very advanced level of firewall policy, right, till layer 7. We can have the visibility. Okay, so tomorrow if I see that some IoT device is trying to go to some XYZ HTTPS server, right, we can have the visibility there and there, and we can ask questions, and we can block that traffic. Okay, so why does an IoT device, CCTV camera, wants to speak to a server in China, right? So why does IoT device need to access this application? Okay, so this is where with dynamic segmentation we can give you that visibility. Okay, traditional devices which cannot, right? So that is the whole premise, and the entire thing once it is connecting, so on the left-hand side, these are some of the, so Office 365, these are all layer 7 policies, right? So once we have the visibility, I can apply similar level of access. We can also prioritize some amount of traffic. Let's suppose if O365 is much more required in the organization, right? So we can high priority traffic to that. Okay, but at the same time, if someone is trying to do some website, okay, so we can block it right at the network layer. We don't have to fall back to the firewall and the perimeter security devices. Okay, so with this we can have end-to-end control for all the users as well as for all the IoT devices. So one of the good kind of dynamic segmentation is at Capgemini. Okay, so we all know Capgemini. So Capgemini has different departments, right, and different departments. So before Aruba dynamic segmentation, I was giving you one very important use case, right, which we did in Capgemini. Okay, so Capgemini, we do understand, right, they have multiple departments, right, which address to specific projects. Okay, so traditionally what they used to do is for every, so let's suppose 5 persons are working on a Europe project, 5 persons are working for a US project, right, and these projects also ask for some stringent SLAs that their traffic should not mingle with the other public traffic, right? So it should be segregated. So traditionally, what they used to do it, for every project, they used to divide new IT equipment, new hardware switches, a separate set of Wi-Fi's and all, right? But with Aruba's dynamic segmentation, what we used to do for them is that as soon as a user connects from project 1 onto the network, their traffic will automatically be segmented. It will form a GRE tunnel. It will go to XYZ DMZ. As soon as the other project person connect on the same switch, this traffic will form a GRE tunnel to the other DMZ controller. Okay. So apart from we giving them control and security policy like till layer 7 on the switch, with Aruba's dynamic segmentation, we can also achieve isolations between different departments onto the same physical network. Okay, so these are the advantages what we get from dynamic segmentation. Apart from the security side, right, till layer 7 security, much more granular level of security on the IoT devices, we can also virtually segregate the users' traffic. Okay, then another important workflow for ClearPass is something called as on-guard agent. Okay, so this is nothing but the posture assessment what is done on the end client. Okay, so with this, what we can do is we can identify the health of the end system. Okay, so what do I mean by health? Is that whether the end device laptop has a firewall which is on or not, right? Whether this firewall is updated or not, right? Because most of the hacks you will see it also happens due to compromised devices. Okay, so to address that need, we have something called as on-guard agent. Okay, so with on-guard, what we can do is we can specify all these policies, endpoint health policies, to check whether this end device, whether they have their Windows which is updated or not, right? Their devices, whether they have a firewall which is on or not, right? Whether the firewall is updated or not. We can also, so we have a lot of integrations which we can do. Okay, so we have more than 150 vendors through which we integrate. So we can apply much more granular policies. Okay, so where I can specify that whether a semantic antivirus is there on that end PC or not, right? Whether a McAfee antivirus is there or not. If it is there, whether it is updated or not, right? So we can also define this on the basis of services, whether these mandatory applications are there on that end PCs or not. Okay, so let's say if I have a list of mandatory applications, whether they are installed on that end device or not. If it is not there, he will get different kind of access. Then access we have to define whether if all the health checks are done, whether if the end device is meeting all this health policy check, he will get X kind of access and full level of access. At the same time, if there is any vulnerability, like the firewall is off, okay, or the Windows is not updated or patched, we can give him restricted access. Okay, remediation access, where he can update all this device and then he can come back onto the network. Right? So that is called as on-guard, and it is very well supported on with ClearPass. Okay, so this is where you can see that different vendor support is there. So I can define whether this antivirus, particular antivirus is there or not, right? Version is this, product version is this or that. So on basis that if this passes, the device is healthy, so we'll have full access. If any of these policies doesn't match, it will fail the policy, and we can give limited access where you can update on the system and then come back onto the network. Okay, so similarly, you can see if there is a peer-to-peer application.
One small request, sir. Sorry for the interruption. Can you speak a bit louder, sir? Your voice is getting too low.
Okay, how is it now? Now I brought the microphone close. Is it better?
It's fine, sir.
Okay, so we can apply. I was saying we can apply peer-to-peer application, a list of 5 applications. These are the mandatory applications. Okay, so we can go to that granularity and we can apply policies. A very useful tool. So this is the feature which is required in most of the financial institutes. Okay, in all the banks. So SBI is one of the customer who is using this, right? Where all their users who are connecting onto the network, first thing is they will go through a health check. Okay, and after the health check, if the system is healthy, they will come onto the network. Okay, so one of the biggest use case for us is SBI, where they have around 7 lakh endpoints who are being authenticated with this ClearPass policy manager, authenticated as well as doing this posture assessment. Okay. So on the final part on the ClearPass, I would like to talk about this automated defense capability. So ClearPass is a vendor-neutral product. Okay, so it doesn't require to have an end-to-end Aruba infrastructure in a place for all these features we are talking about to work. Okay, the authentication, the authorization part. So it can integrate with most of the wired switches vendors, wireless vendors. So it can integrate also with firewall vendors. Okay, so what visibility firewall has? So let's suppose if there is a user, let's suppose Mohan is a user, his device is infected, okay, and he's trying to do something malicious. Okay, in that case, firewall cannot take a direct action to that particular user. Okay, firewall can identify that, maybe it can give you a notification, email notification, but if you want to take actions quickly at that particular moment, so we can do it using ClearPass. Okay, so in this case, let's suppose firewall identifies an intrusion, firewall integrates with ClearPass. Okay, this is called as a ingress event engine. Okay, so event is created from the firewall and it is sent back to the ClearPass, and then ClearPass will remove or isolate that client. Okay, so it forms like a whole automated process where in case firewall is identifying an intrusion, it tells that intrusion to ClearPass, and ClearPass will take action. It will remove the client onto the network. Okay, so it's a very powerful feature to have. So you can have a Palo Alto firewall or a checkpoint firewall, right? So we do integrate with all those vendors, and this is the slide for that. Okay, so we are a vendor neutral product. So we have a integration with all the known vendors out there. Okay, so it can be any vendor switches, it can be any vendor wireless, as long as they support the basic protocols which are required. There is no challenge to integrate with those devices. Okay, now this is again the summary slide. So I quickly also wanted to address something called as ClearPass Device Insight. Okay, so Aruba ClearPass, we have introduced a ClearPass Device Insight to help organization to handle on what is connecting onto the network. Okay, so if I ask you a question that how many devices, all the devices are connecting onto a network, do you have it with you? If I give you one day, can you get it? Okay, so that's a difficult question to answer, right? So to give you that visibility that how many devices are connecting onto a network. When I say devices, how many users, end users are connected, how many IoT devices are connected, right? What are the different operating systems which are there onto the network, okay? So this is the tool which gives you the visibility. So on the dashboard, you can very well see that all these different icons you can see these and the numbers which you can see. So this is how the CDI, the ClearPass Device Insights, first of all, it gives you this visibility, okay? So till now, there was to get this visibility, we used to rely on static attributes, okay, which were not very accurate. So for example, if I have to give you can have an iPad in your office to book meeting rooms, okay, but at the same time, the iPad can also be used in your reception for your visitors, okay. So in your backend, both these devices will be classified as a single iPad, okay, but these two are actually different, and it may happen that you want to give them different kind of access, right? So how will you do that? This is one of the examples. Then in today's environment, you will have, in banking, they will have an ATM machine. Okay, so ATM machine will also run Windows, and there are 10 devices which also runs on Windows, right? So how can the network identify automatically that this is an ATM, these are the Windows devices, okay? Another example, so like for Raspberry Pi, right? Raspberry Pi can be used for temperature sensors, can be used for multimedia purpose, so on and so forth, okay? So how does your network identify or segregate different type of devices for different purpose, okay? So with ClearPass device inside, what we do is we utilize deep packet inspection and advanced machine learning, okay, to actually see what is the behavior of the IoT devices. Okay, so on the basis of, we take into picture the static attributes like the WMI snap, the SNMP attribute, or the DHCP attribute, but at the same time, we also take a look into dynamic behavior attributes of to a user, that which application it is using. So let's suppose meeting room is application is meeting room server, okay? He's working on XYZ ports, okay? So that is the reason, using static as well as dynamic attributes, we can actually pinpoint that this is a meeting room iPad, this is an visitor iPad, this is an XYZ CCTV camera, okay? So on and so forth. And with ClearPass, so once we have this information that this is XYZ device, we can take actions. Okay? So CDI will be used to give you that visibility. ClearPass will be used to take appropriate actions. Okay? So with ClearPass and CDI, ClearPass device inside, we have an automatic closed loop system to ensure that whatever devices, whatever users are connecting onto a network, they are properly authenticated and authorized, okay? And so in this particular example, okay, so in this particular example, this is a CCTV camera, right? So only using static attributes, which is this Nmap and SNMP, network will be able to identify it as a generic Windows or a Linux device, okay, which is not enough for me. I need drill down actual input of code, what is devices, right? So with CDI coming into the picture, which uses MAC information, it uses which protocols or port the device is actually talking to, okay? What is the destination IP, which application it is trying to access, right? Using all these things, we can actually drill down and we can categorize it as a CCTV camera, okay? So with CDI earlier, this was only considered as a generic Windows device, but we can actually drill down and we can give them that this is an access vendor network CCTV camera. So once I have this information, I can apply policies automatically. Okay, so we can, another important use case is, since we are using both dynamic and static attributes, we will also have all the port information or which ports are opened onto a network. Okay, so let's suppose if telnet 23 is not allowed onto a network. Okay, so how do I identify it? So with CDI, you will, since you have all these pieces information, and we are using dynamic and static attributes, we will also have the port information, which ports are open onto the device. Okay, so simply by doing few clicks, all the list of port 23, let's suppose in my example, all this list of devices will come into a picture. Okay, and since I have this information, I can automatically apply a blocking policy. Okay, with CDI and ClearPass, CDI will send this information to ClearPass that, okay, port 23 is not allowed, why it is being used. Simply remove all these users, or I will take a necessary action to close port 23, okay, onto my network. So it forms a very strong security where the CDI giving you visibility, ClearPass taking the necessary action, right? And thus that is how we can eliminate all the blind spots onto the network. Okay, so it will give you the full spectrum visibility and displays all the connected device in a single plane of glass. So you can actually see these are the devices which are connected. So this can include any common devices such as iPhones and laptops, more exotic IoT devices such as security cameras, Raspberry cameras, medical devices, medical equipments, right? And then you can export it. You can use it for reporting purpose, so on and so forth. Okay, so I think that is it from my side. If you have any questions, I think we can take their questions. Or there is one more presentation to happen, right? Hello?
Mr. Parmar, your line, please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, I would just like to introduce the next presentation now. So, hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So we have on board Mr. Parmar, who is from Ashtech. Ashtech is one of the leading channel partners for Aruba in India, and they will take you through their association and some of the talking points which Mr. Parmar will lead us through today. So thank you very much for listening to Mr. Mohan, who took you, through the Aruba ClearPass and security solutions, of which ClearPass and OnGuard and all these features are a very important aspect. We have deployed security solutions to many organizations across segments, and therefore we feel that in the current context, security and keeping your network secure is very, very essential. So handing it over to Mr. Parmar, who would now take you through a brief of what Ashtech and their association. Thank you.
Thanks, Niharika and Mohan. And good evening to all the attendees. Thanks for sparing your time and being a part of this webinar. So the proof of the pudding is in eating it, and how is it possible when such software or such tools can be integrated into your network? And who can help you in that? So partners like us or system integrators like us can bring that value and deploy the features what Mohan just presented to you in your networks. And how is this all possible? It's possible when you have a long-term association and are associated. And you build up the skill sets as time passes. So if I have to just correlate the Ashtech HP association, it's more than 15 years old association, right from the ProCurve days to HP 3Com and currently the Aruba. As time evolved, they also moved up the ladder, and today Aruba is the #1 in the enterprise wireless segment. And all this is possible when we have skills, resources, and we are also adapted to change with time as a partner and as a system integrator. This, I would like to end my session from our end, and I would like once again thanks everyone for being part of this webinar. Thank you. And over to the host.
Thank you, respected speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for Q&A. Would request your association for the same. Participant joining in from the audio bridge, requested to press 0 and 1 from your telephone keypad. Participants on the WebEx screen, you are requested to post your queries on the chat appearing on the right side of the WebEx console. Repeating and requesting again, participants on the audio bridge, you are requested to press 0 and 1 on your telephone keypad. Participants on the WebEx console requested to post your queries on the chat appearing on the right side of the WebEx console. This would be the final request and reminder. Participants, you are requested to press 01 on your telephone keypad if you have logged in through the audio bridge. Participants on the WebEx screen, please post your queries on the chat appearing on the right side of your WebEx console. Ms. Niharika, there is no indications, ma'am. Requesting to please go ahead with your closing comments.
Sure. Thank you very much, team, for being part of this presentation today. We hope that this was of value add. Nevertheless, digital era has its own glitches, and we did face a couple of them today, so we apologize for any inconvenience caused. However, if there are any concerns, you can always reach out to the respective team members. Our coordinates will be shared with the participants. And any other product and solutions that you would like to know about Aruba, you can log on to arubanetworks.com, and we will reach out to you as soon as possible. So any queries, please drop in a note. We'll be happy to help you with any solutions that can help your industry or segment move through. Thank you very much.
Thank you, speakers. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining the call. Wish you all have a great day and requested to please stay safe. Thank you so much.